Welcome to Vital Signs. I'm Jen Godde, your host, and we are here to talk about your greatest asset, your health. Today, we're going to dive deep into some topics that we've been wanting to talk about for some long. We don't wait for our cars to break down. So why do we wait until our bodies do? Preventative health isn't a luxury, it's your best insurance plan. You're in luck. I have with me our expert, Deborah Crystal, founder and CEO of Epigenetic Scan, who is dedicated to helping people shift from disease management to prevention and vitality. Welcome back, Deborah.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here.
Deborah, the problem facing so many in our audience is they wait for symptoms before they seek medical advice. And a lot of times it feels like preventative measures aren't really necessary. I've actually heard people say, I'm too busy or I'm already healthy because I don't have a disease diagnosis, even if I'm not in peak health. Why do you think so many people wait until something's wrong before they take their health seriously? When, as you and I know, preventative healthcare is critical in today's world.
Absolutely. Prevention is everything. And I understand that mindset, of course, because a lot of people are just like as I was years ago, not educated, on the simplicity of prevention. And we wait until we're diagnosed. And the disease usually happens silently years earlier. So an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? So if that's the case, this is our one beautiful body that we're gifted here on this earth. So it should not be that one out of three people will develop metabolic disease, right? And a Lancet study found 44% of cancers could be avoided through lifestyle,
Wow.
not genetics. And I'm sure everybody in the audience knows somebody that had cancer, or if you had it yourself. So 80% of it is within our control. And it doesn't have to be as hard as you think it is, but it is so important. That's
Wow. And so talk to me a little bit because I'm going to ask how we can monitor our health and well-being proactively. But before that, what are some of the subtle red flags that we might experience prior to that diagnosis? If it's already a disease process that's kind of hidden and silent, like what might show up for us that means it's not quite right. We're not quite right. We're not 100% peak performing healthy.
Great question. Absolutely. So I like to break it down. There are three stages of cellular stress in the body. And stage one of cellular stress is where the body is saying, hey, I'm tired and fatigued. And usually people are like, oh, I'm good. I'm just getting older. Like, I'm fine. And we ignore it. And then stage two is where the body goes, well, you missed us in stage one. We needed more nutrients. So in stage two, we're going to give you like the cold, some type of flu, some type of disease that you're going to have to take something synthetic to kind of, cover us up and mask that. And then stage three, the body goes, well, you missed us in stage one. In stage two, you try to cover us up with something, some type of prescription. So in stage three, if you don't pay attention to us, we're going to give you some type of, chronic disease, or worse, we're going to kill you. So it's really important to not just listen to your body, but as we'll discuss, is to measure, to track, to know what is happening as a baseline, so you can know what to improve upon. And but you got to listen and not wait.
So let me ask you, when is the right time to get that baseline? Because I'm just going to use some traditional medical. Oh, you're 45 years old. You need to have a baseline mammography so that we know where you are. Well, so many women have breast cancer in their 30s or 20s before that baseline. So how can we proactively monitor our health and when do we need to start?
Absolutely. And if that works so well, look at what's going on, in the world, right? It's on the rise. We have all of these diagnostics available, colonoscopies, mammographies and so forth, and even glucose testing and things like that. But if we don't get to the root of it, then we're just going to be like, running our the oil of our engine to empty, or we're not going to be able to continue. And then it's just going to get worse. So it's so important, like I said, to pay attention to different signs, energy levels, if you're craving, certain foods. Sometimes that leads to some type of nutrition deficiency or something else going on. You can also notice a lot with your skin as well. Um, your sleep. So you want to pay attention to what is going on. Even mental health is huge because it all starts in the mind. But there's more that you can do at home. There's tools that you can use without having to go to a lab or doing something invasively, where you can actually monitor yourself at the comfort of your home.
So talk to me a little bit about that. How can we do that? What does that look like if we were going to monitor? And even further, like if we have 3 minutes in a week, I don't know anybody watching, if you told me you do not have 3 minutes in a week, I'm going to tell you you're lying to yourself. But if we have just a little bit of time, what is it that we could do to proactively monitor our health from the comfort of our own home?
Absolutely. So wearing a watch, I mean, this is so easy. It tracks my steps, it tracks my heart rate and my sleep and other biomarkers that are so important. So you got to know what's happening. And that's something that you can get. Some of them are really cheap, online. It doesn't have to be the special brand for it, but it's good to first know what that is. And then, you can also get a very simple scan. This is doesn't weigh much. I travel with it. It's the size of a football, and you can do this at home by just placing your hand on it. And I'll talk more about it shortly, but you got to know what's going on, or that's when disease happens because you missed it. So things like that are very helpful. And then also paying attention to what are you putting in your body as well, and also, what are you reading on a daily basis. Your mind is so important too because it's going to impact everything else. So having that and starting small, it's not about intensity, it's really about consistency. So for me, how I started is I got up early in the morning. I have a morning routine that I've developed over the years, but I started it with a 1 to 2 minute meditation or some breath work to really get grounded and centered. And then the compounding effect takes place. And hey, I'm going to add a little bit of movement into this. Hey, I'm going to journal for a little while. So start somewhere and continue, and don't worry about being perfect. It's all about progress.
I love it. So basically, you've given us quite a few daily habits that we can choose from. So if you're watching, it's really not hard. Get a wearable that tells you what you're doing. It doesn't have to be name brand. There are plenty of affordable options. That way, you know your baseline and track it. But we talked about nutrition. Maybe it's nutrition. If that's something that you know you're not doing well, start eating the rainbow. Last time Deborah was here, she talked about eating the rainbow and how important that was. If you are doing that already and you're not moving, maybe it looks like getting up and walking. We've heard from several of our other practitioners the importance of movement as well, and just walking is something that requires no money. And almost all of us can do it. So maybe it's movement, maybe it's sleep, but what is the one habit that you are going to commit to so that you can up level your wellness? And the other thing that I want to highlight that Deborah said was habit stack. Don't try to do all the things at once because that's how we fail. Do one. Pick the one thing that's going to up level your health today and just get to the point where that's something you just do every single day and then add the next one. Deborah, this has been awesome. We have just another minute before we have to break, but do you have a story of someone whose small prevention shift had a big impact on their long-term wellness that you might want to share with us?
Absolutely. So, a doctor that I work with, he's an OBGYN, And he has this technology, the biophotonic scanner, in his practice. He's had it for some years now. And he had a patient come in, and her blood work, her blood pressure, all her vitals looked great. But her score on this technology was going down, meaning that she had some oxidative stress and inflammation in the body at a cellular level, and it shouldn't have been going down that way. So it raised a red flag for him to do a mammogram at 21 years old. He did that for her and found out she had early onset of breast cancer.
Wow. And when we find it early, we have a much better prognosis. I know everyone who's watching has had someone in their life impacted by this. What an amazing thing when we do take that one small preventative measure and we either have an early detection of something or we're able to prevent something that could be much worse. So we do have to take a brief break, but if you're watching, your action right now is to think about what is that one action step I'm going to take? What is the one preventative measure I'm going to take today that's going to take control and help me take back my greatest asset, my health? We'll be right back after these important messages.